The Zephyrian delegation stood frozen at the edge of the human encampment, their chitinous bodies trembling with a mixture of horror and disbelief. Ambassador Crixtel's compound eyes darted between the crackling fire and the massive carcass suspended above it, slowly rotating on a makeshift spit. "Impossible," whispered Scientist Velthari, her voice barely audible through the universal translator. They killed a shadow maw." The creature turning over the flames was indeed a shadow maw, Kepler 442b's undisputed apex predator, standing 12 feet tall at the shoulder when alive, with razor-sharp claws that could slice through reinforced titanium and teeth designed to crush bone. The shadow maw had ruled the planet's ecosystem for over 3 million years. The Zephyrians had evolved specifically to avoid these nightmarish beasts, developing their underground cities and subterranean lifestyle purely out of necessity. And now, humans were cooking one for dinner. Captain Sarah Chen noticed the alien observers and waved cheerfully, her hands still bloody from the butchering process. "Hey there!" Perfect timing. We were just about to start the feast. "Want to join us?" The Zephyrians recoiled as if struck. Crixtel's translator crackled with static before managing to form words. "You consumed the terror of our world?" "Well, not yet," laughed Dr. Marcus Webb, the expedition's xenobiologist, as he seasoned a massive haunch with what appeared to be herbs native to Earth. "But give us another hour. This bad boy's been slow cooking since dawn." The story had begun 3 days earlier when the human research team, led by Captain Chen, had established their temporary base near the Zephyrian settlement of Velthanor. The aliens had welcomed them with the nervous hospitality of a species that had lived in fear for millennia, constantly warning the humans about the dangers lurking in their world's vast forests. The shadow maw's hunt in the deep woods, Elder Jixvar had explained during their first meeting, his antennae twitching with anxiety. "They are death incarnate. Our ancestors built these tunnels to escape them. We emerge only when absolutely necessary, and never alone." The humans had listened politely, thanked their hosts, and then promptly ignored every warning. On their second day, while conducting routine biological surveys, the team had encountered their first shadow maw. The creature had emerged from the undergrowth like a living nightmare, midnight black fur rippling over corded muscle, eyes like burning coals and a roar that shook the very trees. The Zephyrian guide, a young scout named Tixura, who had volunteered to accompany them, had immediately collapsed in terror, his carapace clattering against the forest floor as he curled into a defensive ball. The humans, meanwhile, had reacted quite differently. "Holy shit. Look at the size of that thing," Marine Sergeant Rodriguez had shouted with obvious excitement rather than fear. "Magnificent specimen," Dr. Webb had murmured, already reaching for his sample collection kit. "The muscle definition suggests a protein-rich diet. I wonder what the marbling is like on those hindquarters." Captain Chen had simply raised her plasma rifle. "Well, folks, looks like we found tomorrow's dinner." The battle, if it could even be called that, lasted exactly 47 seconds. The shadow maw, accustomed to prey that fled or cowered, was completely unprepared for creatures that not only stood their ground but actively coordinated an attack. Chen's precision shots disabled its legs while Rodriguez flanked it with a neural disruptor. Dr. Webb, with academic enthusiasm, had documented the entire encounter while simultaneously calculating the best cuts of meat. Now, as the Zephyrians watched in mounting horror, the humans were preparing to consume their world's most feared predator, as if it were nothing more than an oversized barbecue. "How?" Velthari managed to ask. "How did you defeat the undefeatable?" Sergeant Rodriguez looked up from where he was preparing vegetables, some earth potatoes that had adapted remarkably well to the local soil. "Ma'am, with respect, that thing was just a big cat with anger issues. Back on Earth, my grandfather used to hunt grizzly bears with nothing but a bolt-action rifle in pure spite." Bears. Crixtel's translator struggled with the concept. "Think shadow maw, but angrier and better at climbing trees," Chen explained helpfully. "We've got bigger problems in Yellowstone Park during tourist season." The smell of cooking meat began to fill the air, rich and surprisingly appetizing. Dr. Webb had been right about the marbling. The shadow maw's constant predatory lifestyle had resulted in beautifully developed muscle tissue that was now breaking down into what promised to be an exceptional meal. "The fear scent," whispered Tixara, who had finally emerged from his terror-induced paralysis. "It's gone. For the first time in my life, I don't smell fear scent in the forest. Indeed, the usual oppressive atmosphere of the deep woods had lifted. Other shadow maws, it seemed, had either fled the area or were maintaining a very respectful distance from the creatures that had so effortlessly eliminated one of their own. As the sun began to set, more Zephyrians emerged from their underground warrens, drawn by curiosity and the unprecedented safety of a forest without its apex predator. They formed a cautious circle around the human camp, watching in fascination as the humans prepared their meal with the same casual efficiency they might show at any outdoor barbecue. "You know," Captain Chen said, carving off a piece of the perfectly cooked meat. "This tastes remarkably like venison. A bit gamier maybe, but definitely edible." She offered a piece to Ambassador Crixtel. "Want to try some? It's probably the safest meal you'll ever eat on this planet. We've already proven nothing's going to bother us while we're eating it." The ambassador stared at the offered morsel, a piece of their world's ultimate nightmare, now reduced to dinner. Slowly, with trembling claws, he accepted it. As he took his first tentative bite, Crixtel realized he was tasting not just meat, but freedom itself. For the first time in Zephyrian history, they were eating instead of being eaten. The humans, oblivious to the philosophical revolution they had just triggered, simply enjoyed their meal and planned tomorrow's hunt.